The city bleeds light and noise, a symphony of chaos conducted by the strobing red and blue of emergency vehicles. Glass glitters on the asphalt like shattered stars. Steam hisses from the mangled carcass of a sedan, its front end accordioned into the side of a city bus. This is the kingdom of Lieutenant Marcus Thorne. He stands at its center, a man carved from granite and prejudice. His uniform is crisp, his jaw is set, his eyes are chips of Arctic ice. Power radiates from him, a physical force that pushes back the chaos and bends the lesser men around him to his will. He surveys the scene not with the eye of a peacekeeper, but with the cold appraisal of a warden inspecting his prison yard. Every person here is a potential problem, a potential liar, a potential nail to be hammered down. Get these gawkers back, he barks, his voice a gravelly roar that cuts through the wail of sirens. Now. A rookie officer, barely old enough to shave, flinches and scurries to obey. Thorne watches him with contempt. Weakness. The world is full of it, and it is his sworn duty to burn it out, to contain it, to crush it under the heel of his polished black boot. He sees the world in simple, brutal lines. There are predators and there are prey. There are wolves and there are sheep. He is a wolf. It is the natural order of things, an order he enforces with his badge, his gun, and the unshakable certainty of his own righteousness. His gaze sweeps the perimeter, cataloging, dismissing. Paramedics work frantically on a victim half-sprawled from the bus. Firefighters spray foam on a smoking engine. And then he sees him. A figure moving against the tide of the crowd, slipping through the yellow tape with a quiet confidence that Thorne finds instantly offensive. The man is black. He is young, maybe late 20s. He wears faded green scrubs, wrinkled and stained with what looks like old coffee and something darker. He is tall but carries himself with a weary slump, as if the weight of a long day is settling deep into his bones. In his right hand, he carries a sleek, black bag made of hardened polymer, the kind of case that holds expensive equipment. Thorne's eyes narrow. The equation forms in his mind with the speed and chilling logic of a predator's instinct. Black man. Expensive case. Chaos. The answer is simple. Theft. He starts moving, a shark gliding through murky water, his purpose singular and deadly. Dr. Elias Vance feels the exhaustion down to a cellular level. It is a 36-hour shift, a marathon of broken bodies and desperate moments stitched together by caffeine and sheer force of will. He had been 2 minutes from his car, from the promise of a hot shower and 8 hours of blessed oblivion, when the call came in. A consult. A multi-vehicle accident with a potential aortic transection. They needed someone who could handle it, and he was the best. So he had turned around, grabbed his specialized go bag from his locker, and headed back into the fray. The bag is heavy in his hand. Inside rests the Vance Lockwood vascular clamp, a tool he designed himself, a delicate instrument of salvation that has saved dozens of lives. It is his life's work, condensed into gleaming surgical steel. He navigates the scene with a practiced economy of motion, his eyes scanning for the lead paramedic, ignoring the peripheral chaos. He has a job to do. A life hangs in the balance. Everything else is just noise. A wall of muscle and navy blue cloth blocks his path. And just where the hell do you think you're going? The voice is a hammer blow. Elias looks up into the face of Lieutenant Thorne. He sees the immediate, visceral judgment in the man's eyes, a look he has known his entire life. It is a look that dismisses his education, his skill, his humanity, and reduces him to a single, damning variable. The color of his skin. I was called for a consult, Elias says, his voice raspy with fatigue. There's a patient with a possible aortic injury. Thorne lets out a short, sharp bark of a laugh. It is a sound utterly devoid of humor. A consult. You. He looks Elias up and down, his lip curling in a sneer. In those dirty clothes. Let me guess, you're a doctor of what, picking pockets. The public humiliation is a physical blow. A few nearby officers turn to watch, their expressions ranging from mild curiosity to mirrored contempt. The gawkers behind the police line crane their necks, sensing a new point of drama. I'm a trauma surgeon at City General, Elias says, forcing his voice to remain level. Dr. Elias Vance. My chief paged me. Dr. Vance, Thorne repeats, drawing the name out, mocking it. Sure you are. And I'm the King of England. He gestures to the black case. What's in the bag, doctor? Surgical instruments. They're mine. They're yours, Thorne says, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper that carries farther than a shout. Funny. Looks a lot like the kind of medical kit paramedics carry. Easy to snatch one in a mess like this, isn't it? Finders keepers. I didn't steal anything, Elias says, a hard edge creeping into his exhaustion. This is my personal kit. Now, if you'll excuse me, there's a patient. Thorne's hand shoots out and clamps down on Elias's arm. The grip is like iron. You're not going anywhere. The accusation hangs in the air, thick and poisonous. Thorne thrives on this. The shift in the atmosphere, the way all eyes are now on him and his quarry. This is control. This is order. He is weeding the garden, pulling out the undesirables. Let's see some identification, Thorne demands, his face inches from Elias's. Elias reaches for his back pocket with his free hand, but Thorne tightens his grip, twisting his arm. Slowly. Don't want you reaching for anything you shouldn't be. With a weary sigh, Elias carefully pulls out his wallet and his hospital ID. He holds them out. Thorne snatches them. He glances at the hospital ID, a flicker of something, annoyance. Surprise, crossing his face before he suppresses it. He scoffs. Anyone can print a fake ID. What are you, a janitor at the hospital? Get a picture of one of the doctors off the website. He opens the wallet, his thick fingers fumbling through the contents with casual disdain. You have a right to remain silent, Elias says, his voice dangerously quiet. I suggest you exercise it. Thorne freezes. He looks up from the wallet, a slow, predatory smile spreading across his lips. Oh, a real tough guy. A lawyer now, are we? On top of being a world-famous doctor. He yanks the black case from Elias's other hand. I think this is stolen property. Which gives me probable cause to search it. And you? Without another word, he shoves Elias against the side of a squad car. The cold metal bites into Elias's cheek. The rookie cop, the one Thorne had yelled at earlier, takes a hesitant step forward. Lieutenant. Maybe we should just stay out of this, rookie, Thorne snaps without looking at him. You might learn something. The rookie shrinks back, his face a mask of conflict and fear. He is an ineffective ally, a silent witness to an injustice he is too powerless to stop. Thorne places the case on the hood of the car and flips the latches. He opens it. Inside, nestled in custom-cut foam, lies a collection of gleaming, intricate instruments. They are tools of precision and healing, extensions of a surgeon's hands. To Thorne, they are just shiny junk. Well. Look at all this, he says, his voice dripping with sarcasm. He picks up a delicate pair of microforceps. What's this for? Picking locks. He grabs a DeBakey vascular clamp, a standard but expensive tool. Or maybe this is for cracking open parking meters. He is playing to his audience, to the other cops who watch with a mixture of amusement and unease. He is putting on a show. The show is called Putting a Thug in His Place. Elias watches, his jaw tight, a cold fire beginning to burn through the fog of his exhaustion. Every dismissive word, every contemptuous gesture, is another log on that fire. Lieutenant, Elias says, his voice like chipped ice. You are interfering with an emergency medical response. You are contaminating a sterile field. And you are about to damage several $100,000 worth of surgical equipment. Thorne laughs again. Several $100,000. You've got a great imagination, I'll give you that. You should write stories. He turns his attention back to Elias's wallet. He pulls out a credit card. Elias Vance. Fancy. He pulls out a driver's license. Address in the North Hills. Even fancier. His voice is a weapon, each word a carefully aimed shot designed to strip Elias of his dignity, to paint him as a fraud, an impostor who has stolen the trappings of a life he could never earn. I'm going to enjoy this, Thorne says, his voice low and intimate, a lover's whisper of promised pain. Impersonating a physician is a felony. Grand larceny for the equipment. Add resisting arrest, and you're going away for a long, long time. He leans in closer, his breath hot and foul. When I'm done with you, you'll be lucky to get a job cleaning toilets. Your life, as you know it, is over. The threat hangs in the air, absolute and final. It is the promise of total ruin, delivered with a smug, self-satisfied smirk. Thorn believes it. He has the power to make it happen. He has destroyed men for less. He flips through the last section of the wallet. And then he stops. He pulls out a small, worn photograph. It is a picture of Elias on a sunny day in a park. He is holding a little girl on his shoulders, a beautiful child of about 5 with bright eyes and a gap-toothed smile. They are both laughing, a moment of pure, unadulterated joy captured on film. Thorn looks at the picture. He looks at Elias, pinned against the car. And he crosses the line. He taps the photo with a dirty fingernail. "Who's this?" he asks, his voice laced with a vile insinuation. "Part of the disguise. Find a nice family photo in a wallet you lifted to make yourself look respectable." He holds it up for the other officers to see. "Look at this. A guy like him, with a family like that. Doesn't add up, does it?" Something inside Elias snaps. The exhaustion vanishes. The weariness evaporates. All that remains is a core of pure, unyielding rage, cold and hard as a diamond. The world seems to slow down. The sirens fade to a dull hum. The flashing lights blur into a watercolor wash. The only thing in focus is Thorn's leering face, the smug cruelty in his eyes, and the precious image of his daughter held in that monster's hand. He had endured the suspicion. He had endured the insults. He had endured the public humiliation. But this is unforgivable. His demeanor shifts. The slump is gone from his shoulders. He stands straight, his head held high, the full force of his presence returning like a tidal wave. He is no longer a weary man in dirty scrubs. He is a force of nature pushed to its breaking point. He looks at Thorn, and for the first time, Thorn sees something in the man's eyes that gives him a flicker of pause. It is not fear. It is not anger. It is pity. "You have no idea what you've just done," Elias says, his voice no longer tired, but resonant with a terrible, quiet power. Before Thorn can respond with another sneer, a scream cuts through the night. He's crashing. We're losing him. The shout comes from the direction of the bus, from the cluster of paramedics. A new, more urgent panic electrifies the scene. "Get the paddles." Starting compressions. Thorn is momentarily distracted, turning toward the sound. It is one of his own men. Officer Miller, a 20-year veteran, a good cop. He had been on the bus, interviewing a witness, when the sedan hit. Now he is dying on a gurney. The lead paramedic, a man named Dave, his face pale and slick with sweat, barks out vitals. BP is 60 over palp. He's bleeding out internally. We can't stop it. His eyes, wide with panic, scan the crowd, looking for a miracle he knows will not come. And then his gaze falls on the scene at the squad car. He sees the open medical case on the hood. He sees the men in the green scrubs. Recognition dawns. Followed by disbelief. Followed by a surge of desperate, impossible hope. "Oh my God," Dave breathes. He stumbles forward, pushing past a firefighter. "You," he shouts, pointing a shaking finger. "That's him. That's Dr. Vance." He rushes toward Thorn, his voice cracking with urgency. "Lieutenant, what are you doing?" "That's Dr. Elias Vance. He's the chief of trauma surgery. We need him. Now." Thorn stares at the paramedic as if he has lost his mind. "Chief of what?" "This guy. He's a thief. A thief." Dave shrieks, his professionalism dissolving in the acid of his panic. "Are you insane? That bag contains a Vance Lockwood clamp. He invented it. He's the only surgeon in the state who can perform the resection Miller needs. He is Miller's only chance." The turn. The world pivots on a single, invisible axis. The words hang in the air, charged and immutable. He is Miller's only chance. A profound, ringing silence descends upon the scene, swallowing the sirens, the shouts, the entire cacophony of the city. Every eye is now fixed on the tableau. The arrogant cop. The accused doctor. The dying officer. Thorne's face, a mask of smug authority moments before, drains of all color. The blood rushes from his head, leaving behind a cold, clammy dread. His smirk has vanished, replaced by a slack-jawed gape. His eyes, those chips of Arctic ice, are now wide with a dawning, sickening horror. He looks at the men he has been tormenting. He looks at the medical bag he has been mocking. He looks at the dying officer whose life now rests in the hands of the men he just tried to destroy. The power dynamic does not just shift. It shatters. It inverts with the force of a physical explosion, throwing Thorne from the apex of the hierarchy to the absolute bottom. His authority, which seemed as solid and unshakable as concrete, evaporates into smoke. He is no longer the wolf. He is the sheep, caught in the headlights of his own catastrophic mistake. Elias does not raise his voice. He does not need to. His quiet words cut through the stunned silence with the precision of a scalpel. "Get your hands off me, Lieutenant." It is not a request. It is a command. Thorne flinches back as if he has been burned, his hand dropping from Elias's arm. "Your officer," Elias continues, his voice a flat, clinical monotone, has a transected thoracic aorta from a deceleration injury. He is bleeding into his chest cavity at a rate of approximately 2 liters per minute. He has, at best, 90 seconds of viable cerebral perfusion left before he experiences irreversible brain damage. After that, he will die. He turns his gaze from Thorne to the frantic paramedics. "Get him in the ambulance. Lay him flat. I need 2 large-bore IVs, wide open. Type O negative blood, now. And someone get me my damn bag." The spell is broken. The paramedics, galvanized by the voice of absolute authority, spring into action. They load Officer Miller into the back of the ambulance with a speed born of desperation. The rookie cop, his face a mess of shame and relief, snatches the black case from the hood of the car and runs it to the ambulance, holding it like a holy relic. Elias is already moving, stripping off his soiled outer scrub shirt to reveal a clean one underneath. He is no longer a suspect. He is the commander of this battlefield. He is the only hope. Thorne stands frozen, a statue of obsolete power. The world he understood, the simple, brutal world of lines and categories, has been deconstructed around him. He tries to speak, to reassert himself, to salvage some shred of his shattered authority. I was just following procedure," he stammers, the words tasting like ash in his mouth. He looked suspicious. No one is listening. He has become invisible. Just then, a black sedan with tinted windows screeches to a halt at the edge of the scene. The door flies open and a woman emerges. She is tall, imposing, with silver hair pulled back in a severe bun and a face that looks like it was carved to express perpetual disappointment in the human race. She is Police Chief Catherine O'Malley. She runs the department with an iron fist and has zero tolerance for incompetence. Her eyes, sharp and intelligent, take in the scene in an instant. She sees the chaos around the ambulance. She sees her best trauma surgeon, a man she has personally headhunted and championed, working frantically in the back of it. And she sees her most problematic lieutenant, Marcus Thorne, standing by his squad car, looking like a ghost at his own funeral. She strides toward him, her heels clicking on the asphalt like tiny death knells. "Thorne," she says, her voice dangerously calm. "Report. What in God's holy name is going on here?" Thorne's mind scrambles for a plausible lie, a way to spin this, a way to survive. But his brain is a swamp of panic. "Chief. There was a misunderstanding. The suspect. I mean, the doctor. He." The chief's eyes narrow to slits. "The suspect. You're telling me you had Dr. Vance, the man who is currently trying to save Officer Miller's life, in custody. He didn't identify himself properly. He was carrying a bag. It looked like he looted it from an ambulance." Thorne's voice is rising, becoming shrill. It is the sound of a man drowning. Chief O'Malley looks from Thorne's panicked face to the rookie officer standing nearby. "Officer," she says, her voice leaving no room for disobedience. "Tell me exactly what happened. Do not lie to me." The rookie, trembling, spills the entire story. He recounts every insult, every accusation, the search, the threat of arrest, the mockery of the medical equipment. He tells her about the family photograph. With every word, the temperature around Chief O'Malley seems to drop another 10 degrees. Her face becomes an expressionless mask, which is far more terrifying than any look of anger. When the rookie finishes, she is silent for a long moment. She turns her gaze back to Thorn. The antagonist shatters. The granite man crumbles into dust. It wasn't like that, he shrieks, all pretense of composure gone. He was being belligerent. He fit the description of a looter we had a report on. I was doing my job. The lies are pathetic. They are thin and transparent, the desperate thrashing of a guilty man. He tries to bargain. Look, Miller is going to be fine, right? The doctor is here. It all worked out. No harm, no foul. Chief O'Malley stares at him, her expression one of utter, bottomless contempt. No harm, she repeats, her voice a whisper of pure fury. You humiliated one of the city's most respected surgeons based on nothing more than your own filthy bigotry. You delayed his access to a dying patient. You nearly cost one of my officers his life. And you have the gall to stand there and tell me there was no harm. Inside the ambulance, the scene is one of controlled chaos. Elias works with a speed and precision that is breathtaking. He has opened the bag. He has barked a series of commands at the paramedics, who follow them without question, their earlier panic replaced by the focused awe of professionals watching a master at work. Scalpel. A hand slaps it into his palm. Rib spreaders. They are there. He performs an emergency thoracotomy right there in the back of the ambulance, a procedure so risky, so audacious, that it is almost never attempted outside of an operating room. But there is no time. The hospital is 10 minutes away. Officer Miller has maybe one. With a swift, practiced movement, he opens the chest cavity. Blood wells up, obscuring his view. Suction. The field is cleared. He sees the tear, the catastrophic injury to the great vessel that carries blood from the heart. It is a death sentence. But Elias does not see death. He sees a problem to be solved. He reaches into his kit and his fingers close around the cool, familiar steel of the Vance Lockwood clamp. He designed it for this exact moment. Its unique, atraumatic jaws can occlude the vessel without crushing it, buying the precious minutes needed to get to surgery. With a surgeon's grace, he positions the clamp. He closes it. The torrential bleeding slows. Then stops. His pressure is coming up, the paramedic monitoring the vitals shouts, his voice filled with disbelief. BP is 90/60. He's stabilizing. Elias takes a deep, steadying breath. The immediate crisis is over. He has pulled a man back from the very brink of death. Let's go, he says, his voice calm. Get us to the hospital. Now. As the ambulance doors slam shut and it pulls away, its siren now a cry of hope rather than despair, Chief O'Malley turns her full, undivided attention back to Marcus Thorne. This is the climax. This is the public annihilation. Lieutenant Thorne, she begins, her voice formal and cold as a coroner's slab. I want your body camera. This is the final nail. Thorne's face goes ashen. The camera. It has recorded everything. Every word. Every sneer. Every slur he muttered under his breath, thinking no one could hear. It is all there, an indelible record of his corruption, his prejudice, his spectacular abuse of power. Chief, we can talk about this, he pleads, his voice thin and reedy. We can. There is nothing to talk about, she says, cutting him off. Give me the camera. And give me your badge. And your service weapon. He stares at her, uncomprehending. You're relieving me of duty. Here. In front of my men. These are not your men, she says, her voice ringing with an authority that Thorne's never truly possessed. They are officers of the law. A law you have just grotesquely violated. She holds out her hand. Slowly, his movements stiff and robotic, Thorne unclips the body camera and places it in her palm. He unholsters his weapon, his hand shaking so badly he nearly drops it. Then, with the agonizing slowness of a man being dismembered, he reaches for his badge. The badge he has polished every day for 25 years. The symbol of his power, his identity. He unpins it from his uniform. The fabric underneath is darker, untouched by the sun, a ghost image of the authority that is now gone. He places it in her hand. The other officers watch in stunned silence. They had feared this man. They had respected him. They had followed his orders without question. Now they see him for what he is. A hollow man. A bully stripped of his power, revealed to be nothing but a pathetic, prejudiced shell. The contempt in their eyes is a palpable thing. You are suspended without pay, effective immediately, pending a full internal affairs investigation and a civil rights inquiry from the district attorney's office, Chief O'Malley announces, her voice carrying across the scene. You will be escorted to the precinct to give a statement. You are not to contact any officer involved in this incident. Is that understood? Thorne can only nod, his throat too tight to speak. An hour later, the ambulance returns. The back doors open and Elias Vance steps out. He has a fresh set of scrubs on. His hands are clean. He looks tired, but the deep, bone-weary exhaustion is gone, replaced by a quiet, simmering intensity. Chief O'Malley approaches him. Doctor. Officer Miller. He's in surgery, Elias says. It was close. But he'll live. He's going to make a full recovery. A collective sigh of relief ripples through the assembled officers. Elias's gaze sweeps past the chief and lands on Marcus Thorne, who is standing beside a patrol car, waiting to be driven away in disgrace. Elias walks toward him. The other cops part to let him through. He stops a few feet from Thorne. They lock eyes. Elias is the one who finally speaks. This is the final word. You know, he begins, his voice soft, conversational, yet carrying the weight of a final judgment. For a moment there, I was angry. I was furious that you would dare to touch a picture of my daughter. He pauses, letting the words sink in. But then, in the ambulance, holding a man's life in my hands, I realized something. You don't matter. Thorne flinches as if struck. You are nothing, Elias continues, his voice calm and devastatingly precise. You're just a sad, frightened man who needs a badge and a gun to feel powerful. You look at me, and you don't see a doctor, a father, a man. You see a stereotype you've built up in your own head to make yourself feel superior. He takes a step closer. You saw a black man and you assumed he was a criminal. You didn't see a surgeon who could save your officer's life. You saw a threat to your precious, fragile world order. And because of that blindness, because of that poison you carry inside you, a good man almost died. He looks Thorne up and down, not with anger, but with a profound, dismissive pity. That's on you. That failure is yours and yours alone. You'll carry that for the rest of your miserable life. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a daughter to call. He turns and walks away, leaving Marcus Thorne utterly and completely destroyed. The fallout is swift. The fallout is brutal. The fallout is absolute. Marcus Thorne's world does not just crumble, it is systematically dismantled, brick by painful brick. The body camera footage is the prosecution's crown jewel. It is leaked to the press, anonymously, of course, from someone high up in the department, and it goes viral. The city watches in horror as a decorated lieutenant racially profiles, assaults, and nearly causes the death of one of their own through sheer, pig-headed bigotry. The public outcry is deafening. Thorne is fired. There is no hearing, no union protection that can save him. He is cast out, a pariah. The internal affairs investigation unearths a career built on a foundation of lies and prejudice. Dozens of old cases are reopened. A pattern emerges: wrongful arrests, coerced confessions, planted evidence, all disproportionately targeting minority suspects. He is not just a bad cop, he is a cancer that has been poisoning the department for decades. His pension is seized to help pay the settlements for the wrongful conviction cases that begin to pile up. Elias Vance files a civil rights lawsuit. It is not about the money for him, but about the principle. The city settles immediately for an unprecedented amount, desperate to avoid a public trial. Thorne is left financially ruined, forced to sell his large house in the suburbs, the one he was so proud of. He faces criminal charges. Deprivation of rights under color of law. Reckless endangerment. Obstruction of emergency services. He is convicted on all counts. The judge, an old-school jurist with no patience for police misconduct, makes an example of him. Marcus Thorne, the wolf, the warden, the self-proclaimed guardian of order, is sentenced to 10 years in federal prison. His former colleagues, the ones who once feared him, now speak his name with disgust. His downfall is a cautionary tale told to rookies, a ghost story to frighten them into behaving. The rookie officer who stood by and did nothing faces his own reckoning. He is not fired, but he is placed on extended desk duty and enrolled in mandatory, intensive remedial training for bias and bystander intervention. He is forced to confront his own cowardice, to understand that silence in the face of injustice is a form of complicity. He eventually returns to the street, a changed man, humbled and determined to be the kind of officer Thorne never was. For the heroes, the rewards are just as profound. Officer Miller makes a full recovery. The surgical scar on his chest is a daily reminder of the two men who held his life in their hands that night, one who tried to save it, and one who nearly threw it away. He and his family visit Elias at the hospital. There are tears, hugs, and a debt of gratitude that can never truly be repaid. Miller personally testifies against Thorne at his criminal trial, his voice shaking with emotion as he describes owing his life to the men his lieutenant had tried to imprison. Elias Vance becomes a reluctant public figure. He is hailed as a hero. He receives a commendation from the mayor. He is interviewed by national news outlets. He uses his newfound platform not for self-aggrandizement, but to talk about the insidious nature of systemic bias, not just in policing, but in medicine, in society as a whole. He takes the massive settlement from his lawsuit and uses every penny to create the Maya Vance Foundation, named after his daughter. Its mission is to provide full scholarships and mentorship programs for underprivileged and minority students who dream of becoming doctors. It is his way of building a better future, of ensuring that the next generation of healers reflects the diverse world they serve. The incident forces a painful but necessary period of introspection within the police department. Chief O'Malley, true to her word, cleans house. She implements a sweeping overhaul of the department's training protocols. A new directive, unofficially known as the Vance Rule, is instituted, radically changing how officers interact with medical professionals at emergency scenes, mandating immediate credential verification and non-interference. The department's relationship with the community, though deeply damaged, begins a long, slow process of healing, built on the ashes of Marcus Thorne's career. 2 years later. The sterile, quiet halls of City General Hospital are a universe away from the chaos of that night. Dr. Elias Vance, now the official chief of the Division of Trauma and Acute Care Surgery, walks through the ICU. He is no longer just a surgeon, he is a leader, a mentor. He moves with a new air of authority, not the loud, brittle authority of a bully, but the quiet, unshakable confidence of a man who knows his worth and his purpose. He is followed by a small group of residents, a diverse collection of bright, eager young minds. They hang on his every word as he reviews patient charts, his teaching style a gentle but demanding blend of Socratic questioning and encyclopedic knowledge. He is shaping the future of medicine, one student at a time. Later that day, he attends a charity gala for the Maya Vance Foundation. The event is a massive success, raising millions to fund the next class of scholars. As Elias stands to give a speech, he sees a familiar face in the crowd. It is Officer Miller, looking healthy and happy in a well-tailored suit, his wife on his arm. They are not just a doctor and his patient. They are friends. They meet for coffee once a month. They talk about their kids, their jobs, the strange twists of fate that brought them together. After his speech, Miller approaches him, a warm smile on his face. "You're doing good work, Doc," Miller says, clapping him on the shoulder. "We're doing good work," Elias corrects him gently. They stand for a moment in comfortable silence, two men from different worlds, bound together by a moment of crisis and the triumph of decency over hatred. The new reality is a better one. It is a world where a man is judged not by the color of his skin or the wear on his clothes, but by the content of his character and the skill of his hands. It is a world where arrogance is not mistaken for strength, and where power is held accountable. The moral of the story is written in the lives that were changed that night. Prejudice is a poison. It is a blindness of the soul that robs its host of their own humanity. It causes men like Thorne to see a threat where there is a savior, to see a criminal where there is a hero. Arrogance built on a rotten foundation of bigotry will always, inevitably, collapse under the weight of its own ignorance. True authority is not granted by a badge or a title. It is earned. It is earned through skill, through compassion, through the courage to see the humanity in others, especially when it is hardest to do so. Marcus Thorne thought he was the arbiter of order, the strongman holding back the tide of chaos. But in the end, he was the chaos. And Dr. Elias Vance, the man he tried to break, was the one who brought the healing.